The African Pygmies. We have seen the Pygmies probably reach Europe during the Stone Age, and it was certain frequent visits to the court of Pharaoh. At present, they are all denizens of the woodlands, everywhere keeping shelter in the Weli, the Uturi, the Urundi in the Congo, and the Asway forest within the tropics. To do this may be the fact that they are not brown but yellowish in color, with reddish, brownish, woolly hair, somewhat hairy body, and extremely lower stature, ranging to 3 feet, Lugard, and perhaps 4 feet 6 inches at most. The hushness or the dwarfish size have already noticed 2,500 years ago by the Carthaginian admiral Hanno, to whom we own the term gorilla applied by him, not to the authorized ape so named by Dulacilla, but to a certain hairy little people he's seen on the west coast, prior to ancestors of the dwarf still surviving in the Ordway district. Here they are called the Ombongo or the Ombongo, and elsewhere they are known by different names: the Atigata, the Aka, and the Wucha in the Whaling region, and the Duma in the Galan, and the Wumble in the Masi land, and Banta in the Congo, and many others. Dr. Lidwith Wolf connects the Bantu with the northern Akata and the southern Bushmen, all a Scotland family of a primitive, dwarfish race, and regard the true aborigines of Equator Africa. They live exclusively by the chase and preparation of palm wine. Hence are regarded by their Bantu friends as benevolent little people whose special mission is to provide the surrounding tribes with game and palm wine in exchange for mosaic, maize, corn, and bananas. Many are distinguished by the sharp powers of observation and amazing talents of a mini cry and a good memory. Junker describes them in comedic ways and nimble action of an Akata who imitate marvelously the fidelity of a particular person he had once seen. Muslims at prayer, Imam Pasha, with his 4 eyes, glasses, another in a towering rage, storming and abusing everybody, and Junker himself, who took off into the life and rehearsed on minute details with surprising accuracy, from an Afro-Mormon performance with the measure of his body at roommate 4 years before. In Homer, the Iliad 3:6, this is Chapman translation about the Pygmies. At all their parts, like cranes, they fill with harsh confusion of all the brutish claims of the air in a ridiculous war, ensuring when the suffering storms, shot from the winter star, visit the ocean and confer the pygmy soldier's death. Aristotle, the cranes go up as far as the lakes above Egypt where the Nile originates. There are pygmy living, and this is not a fable, but pure truth. Men and horses are, as they say, small in statures and live in grottos. Karnak Temple, the Ptolemaic area, the Nome of Nubia. The dwarfs of the southern countries come to him, bringing their tribute and his treasury. H. M. Stanley, The Darkest Africa, Volume 1, Passum, on pages 40 to 42, describing a couple of pygmies one whom was a man about 21 years old, measuring 4 feet of height, he observes, was the first full-grown man we have seen. His color was coppery and fell all over his body almost feathering, being half an inch in length. His headdress was a bonnet of priestly form decorated of a bunch of feathers. 26 centuries ago, his ancestors captured 5 young Nemsian explorers and made their merry way with them to their village on the bank of the Niger. Even so, as 40 centuries ago, they were known as Pygmies on a famous battle between them and the Storks running in song. On every map since Herculean time, 500 BC, there have been a location in the mountains of the moon where Moses led the children of Jacob out of Goshen. They reign over the darkest of Africa, undisputed lords. They are there yet. And while countless dynasties of Egypt, Assyria, Persia, Greeks, and Rome have flourished for completely G periods and expired. And these little people have roamed far and wide during the elapsed centuries. From the Niger banks with recession waves of large migrants, they have come hither to pitch in leafy huts and unknown wretches of the forest. Their kinsmen are known as Bushmen in the Cape Colony of Wananta, and in the base of the Luwulu as the Akata, and the Motubu and as the Bela and Mododo and in the Iron Basin, and as the Bato under the Lunas Montes. So that's what they talk about the Pygmies so far. That their empire, or they've been there before. They one of the longest running people on the planet. That's known. And as stated, as yet, as the empire was undisputed lords of Africa, and yet was still there while countless dynasties of Egypt, Assyria, Persia, Greece, and Rome has flourished with relatively brief periods and inspired. So this is dealing with the oldest people on the planet that had their own things. Another thing that got me in this was the headdress was the abundantly priestly form decorated with a bunch of parrot feathers. If you look that up, and I'm going to type it in here to make sure people can look it up, you know what I'm saying? See what you come up with. See what kind of headdress that was. See who got it rocking now. You know what I'm saying? They also show them on guard. We also know they was the good musicians. Another thing about this this paper, which is almost posted on here, it talks about how they got corn, but corn supposed to come from the Americas, so they was already doing that. So there was always a mixed trade right there. And also known from the time of the pharaohs and the courts of the pharaohs. If they come from West Africa, that shows a West African Egyptian connection right there. You know, the pharaohs already knew about them. Lady Lugard talked about how cities in Nigeria was already in the book of other pharaohs and stuff like that. The pharaohs used to come there and get their magicians and all type of stuff. They is part of the Kushite kingdom, which Dr. Chancellor Williams talks about. Also, a black woman talk about it, Gisele Dungey Houston. All hail to that queen. Read that stuff because she gets deep into it a little bit too. You know what I'm saying? Also, who else talk about it? Gerald Massey talks about it. So, yeah, as an empire, this is the empire before Egypt. You know, many times they don't know that the Niger looked just like the Nile. You know what I'm saying? Before they came and whacked it up. You know, many people don't know about that. The Carthaginian Admiral Hanno, he came out because of Carthage attack. You know, they had, what does it say? Now, they had colonies down on the west coast of Africa. Many people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And do trade with the people and stuff like that. Before they went out to the Americas too, floating their boats. You know what I'm saying? Another story that's been hidden from us. But this is what we do, people. You know, we do African history. You know, shout out to my ancestors, the Pygmies, who was, you know, doing a lot of big things and important things in our African history. Probably still is. You know, I'm going to say they still are. I'm going to go on the truth on that, you know. Hey, much love. Hey, subscribe to the channel. Peace.